Hi, Ben Carpenter here. I'm going to go through with you my step-by-step nutritional advice for dieting using the KISS principle. KISS is an acronym for Keep It Simple Stupid. A lot of people try and overcomplicate nutritional advice. I'm going to try and make this as basic as possible and tell you what is on my fine-tuning list. What I mean is that I get a lot of complicated nutritional questions from people who just don't warrant a complicated nutritional question yet. They're worrying about the finer details before getting the fundamentals in place. So I'm going to keep this as short as possible and tell you specifically what the fundamentals are. Okay, so a little bit of background. Weight gain or weight loss is indiscriminate. It's a total body measurement. This is defined by calories in versus calories out. So as long as you're consuming fewer calories than you're burning, you will lose weight. That's it. Full stop. So this has been shown by doctors who have done this with the Twinkie diet, the fast food diet, etc., etc. The food quality was irrelevant. As long as they were eating fewer calories than they burned, they still lost weight. We want a more fine-tuned process than this. So I want you to get away from weight loss and weight gain and start focusing on body composition. So you want to maximize fat loss and hold on to as much muscle tissue as possible. This is a more complicated process because for weight loss you just go away and you eat less. Loads of people do it every year. Loads of people then rebound and have weight gain afterwards. What we want you to do is focus on fat loss, focus on lean tissue retention, and most importantly being able to sustain that once you hit your ideal let's say weight or body fat percentage or whatever, rather than letting it rebound like most people do. So here's what you need to do. Calorie intake is always going to be your most important factor. Anyone that says calories don't matter, in terms of nutritional advice, just stop listening to them, because anyone that says that calories are irrelevant, honestly, I've got no idea how you can even come up with that conclusion. Calories are always going to be the most important overall factor. Within that, your most important macronutrient intake is protein intake. This is vital for maximizing the amount of lean tissue that you're retaining, i.e. muscle tissue. So once you've got your calorie target, what I'd say here is if you're using something like MyFitnessPal, put in a few days worth of eating, monitor your progress and adjust it as necessary. Don't pull out a calorie calculation and then suddenly start following that, because calorie intake will vary a lot between individuals. It's better for you to assess your progress, monitor it, and then adjust it precisely, rather than having no idea what you're doing and then suddenly following a caloric equation, if that makes sense. So it's better to fine-tune your current approach than just start a new approach, because there's more room for error. Once you've got your calorie target, your protein target is the most important. So in individuals who are dieting and weight training, the rule in the most recent research is 2.3 to 3.1 grams of fat-free mass. So if you weigh 100 kilos and you're 20% body fat, that's 80 kilos of fat-free mass. Fat-free mass is bone, water, skin, hair, muscle, everything but fat tissue. So if you had 80 kilos of fat-free mass, you do 2.3 to 3.1 grams on that 80 kilos, and that is your protein intake daily. Standardize that. A lot of reason why nutritional research conflicts is because they've got diets that don't standardize protein research. Protein intake is vital to get this right. Don't start fine-tuning things until you've got protein intake. Okay, so you've got calorie intake, you've got protein intake. There are 4 calories per gram of protein. So when you know how much protein you're eating daily, you also know how many calories from protein you're eating daily. Then what you've got is your buffer zone. So everything between your protein intake and total calorie intake will fall between fat and carbohydrates. Fat and carbohydrate is what I describe as highly individual. I could pull out loads of research to show why a low carb diet might be better. I could pull out loads of research to show why a low carb diet might be worse. There is absolutely no black and white answer on this. Anyone that's worked with a lot of clients will understand the individual variance on this. So what I'm going to say is, it's quite a bold statement, but is not to worry about it. Find what works for you through trial and error, and that's it. I know people that do really well on low carb diets. They find it's great for dietary adherence. I know loads of people that find that low carb diets they hate. It's awful for dietary adherence. This is why I'm leaving it up to you rather than giving you a specific recommendation. If you've got no idea what you're doing, take your fat RDA, hit that, and then whatever calories you've got left, they come from carbohydrate sources, and then you've got a moderate approach. That's it. Those are my KISS principles. Everything beyond that is debatable. So, carb cycling. Find me definitive research on carb cycling, and I will put it into all my nutritional videos. There is absolutely no black and white that carb cycling is necessary. Carb backloading, exactly the same. Intermittent fasting, exactly the same. Meal frequency, exactly the same. Some people used to eat more frequent meals with the idea it would stoke the metabolic furnace, i.e. if you eat little and often, it will raise your metabolism. This idea recently was shown to be outdated. It appeared to have no difference as long as calorie intake and macronutrient intake was standardized. So in terms of meal frequency, a good rule of thumb at the moment is 3 to 4 meals per day. That's it, nice and simple. This is what I mean about the KISS principle. A lot of people are asking questions, but they don't know their calorie intake, they don't know their protein intake. If you don't know those things, worrying about cycling of any kind, backloading, meal frequency, leptin, refeeds, etc., is just worrying about details that you aren't ready for yet. As long as you're hitting your caloric target, and as long as you're hitting your protein target, those are the most important factors. Once you know what works for you in terms of carbs and fats, that is essentially what you need to worry about. What I'm going to say, which I need people to kind of drum into, is total macronutrient intake is way more important than things like meal timing, meal frequency, etc. Make sure you're hitting your macro intake for the day. Proteins, carbs, fats. Once you've got those nailed, then perhaps you can start experimenting with things like timings, frequencies, backloading, carb cycling, whatever. But for the majority of people, just don't worry about it yet. Do you want to know what my nutritional approach is? In short, I've experimented with a lot of things. I've made it really complicated in the past. Here's what I do now. I know how much protein I need to eat daily. If I want to lose fat, I eat slightly less. If I want to gain weight, I eat slightly more. And that's it. I know what amount of food it takes me to maintain weight, so I adjust it as necessary. I literally eat a little bit more if I want to gain weight. I eat a little bit less if I want to lose weight. And as long as I'm hitting my protein intake, that's it. I eat 3 meals a day, sometimes 4. It's that simple for me. I think a lot of people are overcomplicating the issue before they're ready for it. So remember, overall caloric and macronutrient intake is way more important than meal timing, carb cycling, carb backloading, or any of these other approaches. You need to hit those first before you start trying to fine tune anything. That's it. That's my KISS principle. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, please post them on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Ben Carbs Personal Training, or my Twitter page, which is BDC Carpenter. And thank you for watching. Bye.